okay, the speaking in tongues in Christianity. I did some research on that and found that that goes back to some Roman rituals with the god Bacchus, who's the same as Dionysus.
Yes.
So speaking in tongues in the Christian church, and when I look in the Bible, I see nothing of what they're doing in the church in the Bible, because when in Acts the 2nd chapter, when the Holy Spirit came down, it allowed those who didn't understand others' languages to understand them so the gospel of Christ can be taught. But babbling in an unknown tongue and opening yourself for channeling in spirits go back to the god Bacchus. And that's what I researched. You being a pagan, is that correct or incorrect?
That's probably right, yeah, because their whole thing was with the, in those days with the worship of Bacchus was to reach a state of ecstasy where you were directly channeling the spirit of the god. And, yeah, I'm sure a lot of people did start, babbling in strange tongues. Honestly, if you read, like, in our Goodly Spell book, we put a lot of very
I'm
old...
not going to read that. Go ahead.
Okay, it's called, I'll just repeat it. It's called the Goodly Spell book, Old Spells for Modern Problems, by... and you probably find it under the name Dixie Dearman, author name Deerman.
No, but
anyway...
But go ahead. I need to hear what you have to say on this.
Well, we have some very old, in fact, we looked for the oldest spells we could find from the Roman and pre-Roman period, and quite a lot of them are they're called barbarous words of power, which means they're very ancient, such ancient languages that nobody knows really what they mean anymore. Let's see, here let me read this one, see if I can pull this off.
Come on, please, don't be reading no stuff like that. Don't be putting no stuff out there right now, brother. We're very spiritual people here. And no. I just rather
that is an old spell word.
I don't want you to put none of that. Nah, please. It's going fine right now. I trust you.
Spell. Don't worry. It was a healing spell for removing a fever. People used to take off one letter from the end each time they said it until it finally ended with the word like relief, That way they'd bring down the fever of the sick person. So most of these old spells, that's what they were actually for, was for healing people and helping them with, medical problems or various other kinds of problems. But they're never, well, at least the ones we put in our book, none of them are curses or anything like that. So they're useful and helpful, but not dangerous. We wouldn't publish anything dangerous like that.
Okay, well, let me ask you this, because I wanted to make sure that part was placed out there, because there's a lot of, I'm coming to find there's a lot of pagan rituals within Christianity itself. And the sheer ignorance within Christianity is perplexed. I'm perplexed with it, is that to come down on everyone and say, well, my way is the only way, but really your way is paganism. And then you tell a pagan they're going to hell if they don't follow your way when you stole your way from pagans.
Yes, that's exactly what we say.
So I just wanted to put that out there. Now, let me ask you that, since we're going into the afterlife and things of that nature, when it comes to hell, which they speak of, do you believe there's an underworld? Do you believe that there's a hell, a place that exists after one leaves the earth?
Well, we only have really one fixed belief, and it's based on our experience, and that's in reincarnation. Witches do believe in reincarnation, though we've had many lives before.
You believe in reincarnation.
And so we believe that, we experience, actually. A lot of people, like we listen to people who have died and come back to life, like on the operating room table and so forth. And they'll often talk about going to, in fact, my own high priestess and wife, Lady Passion, that happened to her. When her daughter was born, she died and found herself in a silver sphere with a whole bunch of other silver spheres, just shooting out past the planets, out towards a place that was incredibly beautiful. It looked like she says, I know this sounds corny, but it looked like Superman's city of crystals, and it was that way above, and beneath it seemed like there was a utterly dark reflection of it, of it. I was going towards that upper light part, with all these other silver spheres. But she says that this knowledge came to me, and that kind of how the whole universe worked. It was all this whole idea basically of polarity and balance and duality. And as soon as she thought other people should know this, I wish other people knew about this. She says they, and she had a distinct feeling of it being they, gods, sent her right back, and she found herself right back in her body, right, where she had just bled to death a moment earlier. And ever since then, she's been a very different person. She feels, much less afraid of death, as she knows.
Well, let me ask, because I don't think the question, maybe I need to just ask it in a different way, because I can actually go into the scriptures and show you what she experienced, because what she experienced is actually in the 70 scriptures that were hid in the Qumran caves from the prophet Esdras.
Well, it's also in Plato. I mean, Plato writes about that in one of his Timaeus, I think it is. And I'm actually a big follower of Plato and Socrates as pagan philosophers.
Yeah. They were two known pagans.
Well, there were, and the thing that she experienced is written there and described as the experience of a soldier who died and came back to life.
Okay.
So yeah, it's in a lot of.
Yes. Let me just real quick. One sec. Just real quick. I want to make a quick announcement. Everyone, you tune into the Search Engine International. I'm your host, Gaja. We have Elder Rakar live here. We also have Steve. I'm sorry, I forgot your surname. But
Rasmussen.
Steve. Okay. Repeat that, please.
Steve Rasmussen.
Rasmussen, and Steve Rasmussen is a pagan, or from the religion witchcraft.
Witchcraft, Wicca, yeah, both. Yeah, you can call it either, really.
Okay, all right, and okay. For the listeners who are there tuning online, we have an hour and 30 minutes to go before the overtime. Now, we had some problems last week. Those of you who are trying to get into the Skype, what you need to do is click on the live link for the show, and you'll see the Skype link to call in. All right, you can try to start doing it from now so that when it comes down to the time, you don't get cut off. We have an hour and 20 minutes to go. An hour and 29 minutes to go for the overtime. All right, and that's it. Pleasant listening. I'll hand it back over to Elder Rakar and Steve.
Okay, so.
Yeah, you had another question?
Yeah, the question I asked is, so you don't know for sure whether or not there's a hell, or you don't know about that? Because the reason I'm asking you is because when someone dies, according to Scripture, they behold the light. They go through everything you've just experienced. It's a 7-day period before they go into place of habitations where they'll be based on the judgment of their life. But originally, you adorn that life. You deal with the 7 days. You understand? But I'm asking you, do you know anything, or is the teaching of hell or torment after life? Is that anything within your religion specifically? Is what I'm asking you.
Not in the Christian way. No. That's no. That we don't have that teaching, and we honestly haven't. We rely a lot on experience, what people's experiences are, as opposed to what we're told or what a book tells us. And I haven't known of anybody who's encountered anyone who's gone to a hell or experienced or seen it. However, that's not to say that people don't experience that when they die. They might very well. I think that a lot of people. One thing we do deal a lot with. Let me tell you this. Is ghosts, angry ghosts, spirits of people who may have died very angry, and were maybe very bad people in their life, and they're caught in a kind of hell a lot of times. Not always, but a lot of times. So, people will call us in to try to get rid of a ghost that's destroying things in their house, or really causing a lot of trouble, and quite often that's the problem, and they're suffering. They're tormented by whatever it is got them.
Okay, well, answering the question directly, no, y'all don't deal with the hell. Let me ask you this.
We talk about the hell of the Christians, but it's kind of
okay. All right.
First, may you go to the hell of the Christians. It's a joke, really.
Listen. Let's go into the symbolisms now. There's certain symbols that's used, like the Jewish star, the 6 point, what they call the Star of David, which could be called the Seal of Solomon.
Right.
Which is a 6-pointed star.
Now that is a very ancient symbol that represents as above, so below. It's the two interlaced triangles. One of them's pointing up, the other one's pointing down. Yeah.
It's what the Jewish people are hiding, and they call them the Star of David, but it's not the Star of David at all. Is that correct?
You're right. It's much older than that, and much more universal. And it means
and its history is shrouded within paganism. It's the origin, not shrouded, but its origin is paganism. Yeah, and really the 6-pointed star have nothing to do with the Star of David. Am I correct in that?
You're right. It was not adopted by most Jews until the Middle Ages. In ancient times, like the old carvings that you find on Roman ruins, Judaism was always represented by the the 7 or 9 branched candelabra, the Hanukkah candelabra. That's how that was the symbol for Judaism then. I forget what the name of that is. That holds the candlesticks. The menorah.
But under Megan David, it was switched under the Rothschilds. They switched symbolisms under the Rothschilds to it's called in Enochian magic. It's called the Seal of Solomon, and this is magic that was used under some of the Kabbalists.
Yes, it does play a role in that, and that is probably how it came into Judaism. It was from the Kabbalah, because it is a magical symbol. It represents what nowadays mathematicians call the fractals. The idea that everything on high is reflected on low. That you find the same laws, same structures, same whatever, whether you're dealing with the very large level like universes or the very small level like atoms. And so they call that, in magic, we call that the principle of as above, so below. It's called the Hermetic.
Well, I'm asking you this, sir, because I know other Hebrews who ignorantly picks up the symbol and don't even know what the symbol is about. They think there's some type of cultural connection with the ancient Hebrews and this 6-pointed star.
Yeah.
You understand?
Well, you're right.
And
they don't know that. It's become like kind of an arbitrary logo, like everything's a logo nowadays. So that's the logo for Judaism, just like... So
I want to put this out there for all the brothers out there who are ignorantly. If you're going to follow something, find out the origin of it, instead of just saying, "Well, this was something of my father's."
I agree with that. Yeah, you should really understand the origin and the deeper meaning of things. Because a symbol isn't just an arbitrary bit of geometry. It reflects some kind of a universal principle, depending on the symbol. And
so you use not only the 6-pointed star, but you use the 5-pointed star, what we call the Baphomet, also. Is that correct? We don't associate it with Baphomet, but we do use the 5-pointed star. It's an interlaced 5-pointed star, and we usually surround it with a circle. When you're using a 5-pointed star, is there any level of fire as a part of this particular ritual? It represents
the 4 elements plus spirit. So the 4 elements are fire, air, water, earth, and then the kind of the central core element that gives rise to all the others is spirit, the one that animates them, gives them life.
I have a bet.